My hands holding the wires were shaking slightly, and the old house door lock made a sour creaking sound. The moonlight passed through the canopy of the sycamore trees and cast ghostly claw-like shadows on the blue brick wall, on the lintel of the Chiyuan garden. A ferocious gap was cracked on the plaque Yang Sui Bai Fu, and it seemed to be torn apart by sharp claws. The camera screen was filled with a faint blue light, and Su Xiaowei in the picture was talking to the air. He said he would come to pick me up on the night of blood moon. The carved ancient mirror behind her suddenly rippled, and a girl wearing a moon-white cheongsam was clearly reflected in the mirror, with camellia dripping blood on her temples. I instantly sweated coldly on my back. The camera swayed violently at this time, and finally frozen on Xiaowei's twisted face. 3 red lines were wrapped around her neck. The sound of marbles rolling suddenly came from the attic floor. I was frozen in place, and the pocket watch hand was stuck at 11:59. The dark red moonlight seeped in from the carved window frames. The old-fashioned wall clocks on the wall suddenly turned wildly, and the copper pendulum was densely engraved with scratching marks of fingernails. Something cold was rubbing the back of my neck, but my reflection in the mirror showed a strange smile. There was a rustling sound of paper from the bottom of the bed, and I felt the burnt diary, the handwriting on April 4th, 26. The 26th year of the Republic of China was as sloppy as a ghost painting. One wrong-combed her hair in front of the mirror again, saying that she heard the sound of a welcome Swona, but her groom obviously drowned in the lotus pond 3 days ago. The yellowed photo fell from the page, and under the veil of the bride in a wedding dress, a piece of neck wrapped in red lines was exposed. The opera suddenly came from the top floor, and I held Xiaowei's peachwood hairpin left by tightly rushing up. The moonlight casts 2 shadows on the stage. The woman in blue dress in costume lies in a sleeve, while the shadow under her feet is kneeling and is tightening the neck of another shadow with a red ribbon. Xiaowei's pale face flashed across the stage mirror, and her lips moved. Yutong is leaving quickly. The red line is about to wrap around the 3rd circle. The bronze mirror suddenly reflected the bloody moon, and the woman in the costume turned her head suddenly. Her face was covered with a layer of peeling wall skin, revealing the thick white bones underneath. I wanted to escape, but found that my feet were unable to move as if they were rooted. The pocket watch was hot in the palm of my hand, and the second hand began to rotate in reverse. The reflection of the girl from the Republic of China in the mirror suddenly reached out to hold my wrist, and the camellia in her ear fell into reality, and a pool of black blood was spreading on the blue brick floor. There was a hollow knocking sound from the ground, and I followed the sound and moved away from the Buddhist niche. With dozens of gray cameras piled up in the secret passage, the latest memory card is still warm, and the view frame is the back of me who picked the lot 10 minutes ago. The camera suddenly flipped automatically, and Zhang Wanrong, wearing a moon-white cheongsam, was pressing behind me, and the red line swam out like a snake on her cuffs, wrapping it in a second circle around my neck. The bell rang when the blood moon rose to the middle of the sky, and the whole house began to twist. A dense spell was exposed on the peeling of the wall, and each cinnabar rune was cut with his fingernails. Xiaowei's scream came from the mirror. I saw her trapped in the sedan chair of the 26th year of the Republic of China. Zhang Wanrong's red line suddenly tensed, and blood began to leak from the couplets on both sides of the stage. However, the 7-level love sickness curtain was wrong, and the 3 lives were not bad. The peachwood hairpin was broken into 2 pieces in the palm of the palm, and the sharpwood thorns pierced into the flesh and blood. The moment the blood beads dripped on the ancient mirror, the mirror surfaced the bones at the bottom of the lotus pond, and each corpse had 3 red lines wrapped around the neck. The woman in the costume suddenly sang Peony Pavilion. Wherever the water sleeves brushed past, wet footprints appeared out of thin air on the blue brick floor, leading to the ancient well covered with stone slabs step by step. The baby cried from the bottom of the well. When I pulled the wheel, I felt the blood that had not yet been weathered. The hemp rope suddenly broke, and the moment the camera fell into the deep well, The flash illuminated the well wall. Countless escaped characters were stacked into thick moss. And the latest line was actually carved with Xiaowei's coral hairpin. The well water reflected to moons. Zhang Wanrong's face floated out of the water surface. The red line between her neck suddenly broke inch by inch. And the camellia petals turned into ashes in the bloody moon. When the morning light pierced the window paper, I collapsed in the middle of the stage. Half a burnt yellow wedding book was held in the palm of his hand, and the groom's name had dark brown blood fingerprints. The siren sounded from far too near, and I took out my close-fitting recorder, which was the last letter left by Wanrong to the unknown. When the first police officer rushed in, the bloody moon in the ancient mirror was gradually fading away, and what finally disappeared was the light red mark on my neck in the mirror.